Hello everybody, welcome to episode 9 of Building My Large Species Park, where we will build a goat farm and a Carnivore Colosseum, which will house the Acrocanthosaurus and some Carcharodontosaurus. Now, let's head straight into the speed build. Building all of that took me about 1 hour, which is about the average for my videos, nothing out of the ordinary. If you've watched this building series since episode 2, you may know that this path used to be much shorter, about 3 times shorter. If you haven't, the path basically went from being this short to being this long. One of the other things I did with the path was adding some shops. There are 2 amenities with a tiny seating area placed right in between them. To enter the seating, you can either use the doorway leading to this area, or you can walk through the sides of the amenities to make your way into this place. Adding little things like this in your park can really make it so much more realistic. Moving on to the custom goat feeder, you can see that I used rocks to outline the goat enclosure. There are also some trees, bushes, and of course, the giant stick, just to make the goats feel more at home. If you want to build something like this in your own park, all you really need to do is look at these photos and you can replicate something like this in your park. There are also some smaller rocks in between some of the bigger rocks, just so the goats don't get out and terrorize the guests. Speaking of which, I forgot to release the dinosaurs in this episode, so please forgive me for that. There are about 2 goat feeders in this goat farm, which is definitely not enough to feed these dinosaurs, but that's why there's going to be a couple more in the amphitheater. This farm also acts as a petting zoo for people to get up close and personal with the goats. I came up with that while writing the script. The petting zoo was not my original intent when I created the goat stuff. And finally, when the goat is ready to be fed, it can walk right through the foliage and into the mouth of the electric Jurassic Park fence gate, where the goat will soon meet its doom! To the left of the amphitheater, there's a construction site. This is actually going to be another goat farm. Why did I make the decision to make this a construction site? Well, it's quite simple. I just didn't want to place the stupid rocks again. Oh god, that was so annoying. Speaking of rocks, there's a giant rock that the smaller rocks will be chipped off of. To make it more realistic, I still did have to place some rocks to show how much progress the construction workers have made. But hey, at least it's not that much rocks. It doesn't look like much, but god, it took me way too long. To make it look more like a construction site, there's of course a couple of cranes, some tents, wooden boxes, and of course, the most important invention that mankind has ever made, a bathroom.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
The main thing about this enclosure is that it has an amphitheater. The amphitheater also has a farm which has 3 feeders. Sadly, unlike the other farm, there is not much foliage in the amphitheater. So you do sacrifice nature, but you do indeed gain more space to roam. Also, I should mention that this thing has a terrible view. Most of the time, you won't even be able to see the dinosaurs. All you'll see is some boring old goats. But if you do want a better view of the dinosaurs, check out the log viewing gallery. The right half of it does get a tiny bit obstructed by some of the trees, but hey, it's either this or the amphitheater. If you ask me that question, I'm 100% choosing the log. Something with an even worse view of the enclosure, yes, worse than the amphitheater, is the viewing tower. You can barely see anything up there that has anything to do with this episode's build. But hey, you can still see the gigas from up here. It's not really the point of it. In total, there are about 4 dinosaurs in this enclosure. 2 acros and 2 Carcharodontosaurus. For these dinosaurs to drink, there are of course some puddles of water all around the enclosure for them to drink out of, some rocks to add that tiny bit of realism to this enclosure, and of course, some hills. Because no enclosure is complete without elevation. The only thing left to do is to name these guys. If you have any name suggestions, feel free to tell me in the comments. Now, let's get to some shots of the shops, goats, and of course, the dinosaurs. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Although it was more time consuming than it looks, the goat stuff is still an interesting thing to have in your parks. And if you enjoyed this as much as I did, I would appreciate it if you would like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day, and see you next time.